427. Here we go. Here we go. We are okay. The light is on. Looks good. Looks good. You got anyone on yet? You do a mic check. We need to do the usual. Oh, let me just make sure. Hey, there's the stream info. That looks good. All right. Let's go back. Hello. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Yay. Recording. Hello? Hey, Dirties. Hey, Dirty Sleb. How are ya? You're the first one that chimed in. Okay. So I need a big favor. I need a big favor from you because I need a big favor from you because you're the first one on. Now, there is a drill that we do right before we start. That is this. Mic check, audio check. Check, check, 1, 2. How does the audio sound? How does the mic sound? Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check. Audio check. Video check. Hey, X Baker. How are you? Okay, sounds good. Okay. Hey, Song. How are you? Hey, Song V9. You do wrong. Good. All right. Good. This is important because lots of time there are audio that I have encountered, not lots of time, but a few times there have been audio problems. Something actually one time it was beyond my control. Okay. XU Duong Dai. Hello. Yes. Yes. Hello. Yes. We're gonna get started at the dot at 4:30. Yes. Hey, why is this? One of the things is that I just wish. Hey, K-Farm. How are you? Hey, K-Farm03. How are you? Hello. And when I can tell you exactly when we're going to start. Oh, important. See if you notice the difference. Are you ready? See if you notice a difference in a few seconds. 1, 2, 3. Notice a difference? Very nice, student 09. How are you? See the difference? All right. The light is on. We're back. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Introduction to Security 37. Oh, I turned on the lighting. 37. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode and season number 6 of my Introduction to Security class that is offered at Tufts University. I'm Ming Chow, Associate Teaching Professor, yada, yada, yada. I thoroughly enjoy doing these Twitch streams. This is my 6th semester doing this. What I call season number 6. Now you may be wondering, why do I actually offer, hey Scandy, hey Zen, how are you? You may be wondering why that I thoroughly enjoy doing these Twitch sessions. Well, first of all, they're fun. They're engaging. Second of all, thank you all for tuning in. What's also nice, like, hey Pebbles27, the other thing I don't know, you will find out soon, is unlike in a physical classroom, a lot of students are just, intimidated if they're sitting in a 100-person class. And sadly, I don't think the days of big classes are going away anytime soon, especially in computer science. So here on Twitch, you have no idea who you're actually in the room with. No one knows if you're a cat or a dog. No one knows if you're a student from Tufts. No one knows if you're a security professional, and we do have special guests that pop in every so often. No one knows if you're a student from another country. You don't know. So it's really nice that it feels like it levels the playing field. But hey, dirty slab, hey Zen, that's not me. I'm not Ming as the goat. I don't know who that is. That's a parody account. But the third thing is, and this is really important, is that cybersecurity education is just so badly needed now. And I do these Twitch sessions to open up the classroom, to democratize the classroom to the world. Um, and I mean, you hear it all the time that we need more cybersecurity professionals. We need more, um, we need more learning opportunities. So I do this for those reasons to democratize democratize the education. And again, feel free to share the content as well too, and what you learn. Uh, one of these, the thing about these Thursday sessions is they're all hands on. So it's all hands on skills. These are recorded. Uh, they will be posted on Mastodon, um, the course website. Um, these videos will also be exported to YouTube for closed captioning. Yeah. So yeah, as Zen said, yeah, access. Let me just say, access is a really big problem, um, especially when it comes to education. Especially when it comes to education. But without much editing, we're at 4:33. We're gonna get started right away, so I'm not gonna waste your time. Now, these are all hands-on, and certainly today is one of my favorite topics, and this is very hands-on of a topic. And this is we're gonna do packet analysis using Wireshark, also known as analyzing computer network traffic. Um, that is my email address, and you may be wondering, wait a minute, what in the world is this thing called the Wall of Sheep in the Packet Hacking Village? What is that? Is that a real thing? Is that also a real group? Is that a real email address? And the answer is yes. How long do these get posted to YouTube? Usually within 2 hours. Has to do with the export. Yeah, Magic Mustachio, how are you? Usually within 1 to 2 hours to do the processing and usually do the processing and closed captioning. But the Wall of Sheep, that's my email. That's my other email address. You may be wondering, what is that? Like, what is the Wall of Sheep? Now, I want to give you a little bit of a motivation. Each and every summer, the world's largest hacking convention is held in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Usually in the end of July, early August. DEF CON. Okay? DEF CON is also the conference that everyone's mother and father tell their kids not to go to because things get broken into, the list goes on. There's some truth to that many years ago. Largely, it's not. It's no longer that true anymore. I mean, it has that notoriety. So each and every summer, hackers, attackers, um, good and bad, lawyers, journalists, law enforcement, um, business people, tinkerers, hobbyists, students go to DEF CON in Las Vegas. Uh, Attendance is nominally cheap. It's like $300 to $400 cash. Um, and there's a lot of workshops, lots of talks. Um, Back in the heydays, people you got speakers that got arrested on stage. um, and there's a lot of what they call villages that offer very specialized, specific things. Like there's a village on biohacking. There is a village on if you're interested in cybersecurity policy. There's also another village on airplane security. Yeah, it's your network. But one of the most sobering sights at DEF CON is this thing called the Wall of Sheep. And I have been involved with the Wall of Sheep team since 2006. My first time in Las Vegas and at DEF CON. So what is this thing? What is this Wall of Sheep thing? The Wall of Sheep, what it is, a lot of people call it the Wall of Shame. It's not that. What it is a wall of all the usernames and passwords that were ripped out on arguably the world's most dangerous computer network, the DEF CON network. So, what the whole point of this Wall of Sheep is, if you are checking email, going to websites, or doing any sensitive business on arguably the world's most dangerous computer network, and you're not using encryption to send sensitive information like your username and password, you'll be caught. And what we do is we have access to the entire DEF CON network, and we will rip out usernames and passwords that were sent in plain text, unsecure, over the network. And the whole point of this Wall of Sheep is not to shame you, but it's for educational purposes. If you're going to be using a computer network and you're going to be sending sensitive information like email, bank account information, especially usernames and password over a dangerous network, and the worst of all, you're using insecure protocols, we'll find you. We'll post your username and the first 3 letters of your password on the wall. And what this is if you are actually caught, we will inform you that in the future, if you use a dangerous network, you better make sure that you use secure you better make sure you use encryption and secure protocols like HTTPS to send things like your username, password, email, you name it. Okay? Yes, they're not available on the slide. I will give them to you after. I'll post them afterwards. Yes. Not even incognito. No. Incognito mode is that does absolutely nothing. Incognito mode just will not save a lot of information onto your local computer, but over the network, different story. Yeah. All right, we got our first bot. Hi, bot. Yeah. And so what I'm going to show you today are the tools and techniques that we use at the Wall of Sheep to analyze the network for sensitive information like usernames and passwords sent in securely. So a little bit about the Wall of Sheep and what our village is at DEF CON, called the Packet Hacking Village. Our mission is security awareness. And how we accomplish our mission are interactive demonstration, trainings, live talks, and even unconventional methods. 10 years ago, we actually did a fundraiser for the EFF, the Electronic Frontier Foundation. We had a peekaboo booth, and which was, you take a look at all the pictures that were sent in securely over the network on DEF CON. Our team is all volunteers. We pay our way to go to DEF CON each and every summer. We don't get paid to go there. We're all volunteers. And I've been with the team for a very long time. So what is this thing called packet analysis? Packet analysis is to look at and understand computer network traffic. Packet analysis goes by many different names, also known as network traffic analysis, packet sniffing, protocol analysis, and packet tracing. This is a term that, the last term, this is what Susan Landau uses in the Cybersecurity and Public Policy program, if you have ever taken a course like Cyber for Future Presidents. Now, how this terminology is that it is highlighted, like the word packet is in italicized. So packet analysis, the idea is just analyzing and understanding computer network traffic. Like, for example, like the traffic on computer network traffic is things like your Netflix stream, or even things like if you're using a Nintendo Switch, if you're using Bluetooth or even the online mode, when you're downloading a web page, the list goes on. Why do you want to do packet analysis? Why do you want to do packet analysis? There's many good reasons. Now, packet, like many things in cybersecurity, anything can be done for both good and bad, either good or bad. Packet analysis for years has been used by system administrators to troubleshoot like networking issues. People use packet analysis all the time to just like, okay, why isn't my Nintendo Switch actually working on my computer network? To record conversations for email, voice, and chat for compliant purposes. If you want to reconstruct images and other data transmitted on a computer network. Um, and finally, for good or but better or worse, to catch username, password, personal information, and other sensitive information that was sent insecurely, in plain text over a computer network. Hey, Scandy. Nope. Stupid keyboard. I had a stuck keyboard. Arrow key. So I want to give you show you this article from Wired magazine from 2017, I believe it was. In 2017, Garrett Graff wrote this article about the Mirai botnet. And this article almost started World War III on Twitter because a student informed me of this. And the article, I'm not going to get into the article, but the article actually had this very interesting wording. On the compromised devices, they had to carefully reconstruct the network traffic data and to study how the Mirai code launched so-called packets against its targets, a little understood forensics process known as analyzing PCAP, packet capture data. Think of this as a digital equivalent of testing for fingerprints or gunshot residue. So when I first got a hold of this article, I was like, this doesn't make sense. And a lot of people on Twitter in the cybersecurity community chimed in as well. It was a really awkward worded paragraph here. There is a common saying in cybersecurity, which is true, which we always joke about, is called PCAPs or it didn't happen. So the whole goal of today is to help you, quote unquote, understand this so-called little understood forensics process known as analyzing PCAP or packet captured data. That's what we're going to do today. Yeah. So now let's have an understanding. What is a packet? What on earth is a packet? Now, everything that you do on a computer network, streaming a video, downloading a web page, hey, even watching this Twitch stream, sending an email, receiving an email. Okay, all of those activities are comprised of packets. A single network packet is a unit of data. A single network packet is a unit of data. And when you actually, on this Twitch stream, or when you're downloading a web page, or when you're loading a web page, wherever you are, all of that is comprised of many packets. Generally speaking, a single packet contains the following information, including source and destination IP addresses, port numbers, MAC address, time to live, the protocol, the payload, like the piece of your email or the piece of the video, and a whole bunch of other content. A single network packet encapsulates all the layers of the Open Systems Interconnection Model, or the OSI model. So what in the world, I also highlighted this thing called the Open System Interconnection Model. So what the hell is that? The OSI model, what it is, on textbook, it is a conceptual framework that describes the functions of how any networking or telecommunication system should work. It is one of the most confusing parts of computer networking, but all you need to know are this: 7 layers, each layer is abstracted from each other, and most importantly, it goes from the highest level of abstraction, which, like things that you do and use every day at the application level, layer, at layer 7, all the way down to the physical layer. The physical layer is like the physical things like cables, hubs, bits, bytes, all that fun stuff. So it goes from the highest level of abstraction to the lowest level of abstraction, the things that you don't care about. Okay? There is a great picture that is used on Reddit. that actually showed how the OSI model goes work. So when when one Reddit user tries to send a message to another Reddit user, it just goes down the whole chain of the OSI model. It goes from the highest level of abstraction to lowest. Then to the other Reddit user, the message goes from the lowest to the highest level of abstraction. So you have a Reddit user that sends a message to another Reddit user. That message will go from the application layer, then to the transport layer to the internet layer to the link layer to the physical layer, and then go all the way up to the physical layer, the link layer to internet layer to the transport layer, and transport layer application layer to the Reddit user. And that's it. Oh, and no one cares about, and I want to dedicate this quote to Rob, my friend Rob Graham. No one cares about layers 6 and 5, the presentation and session layers. Yeah. Oh boy, for what? Then, what's up? So what is a PCAP file? A PCAP file is just, well, PCAP stands for packet capture. .pcap is a file extension for packet captures and is commonly used in applications like Wireshark. Just to give you an idea, a 100 megabyte PCAP file contains tens of thousands of packets. So a PCAP is just a file. It's a file that has many packets. What it is. So what the hell is this Wireshark thing? Formerly known as Ethereal. Wireshark is a free and open source tool, platform independent, arguably the most important tool for anyone doing anything network related. For years, it was rated ranked the number one most important security tool. In period. What it is a graphical and extensive packet analyzer. You can use Wireshark to record packet, filter packet, record conversation, reconstruct files based on packet, you name it. Wireshark is free and open source. You download it at wireshark.org. So now, hey Vibes, how are ya? Yeah, things are good. Thanks for checking in. Is everything good with you, Vibes? Bib28, everything good with you? Everything good? Yeah, thanks for checking in, man. Thanks for checking in. Really appreciate it. Means a lot. Okay, wireshark.org. Okay, so now let's actually now do exercises. Let's do some exercises now that uses Wireshark and packets. Before I get that, here's how the Wireshark user interface works. I'm just going to show you a screenshot. So what it is when you load up a PCAP file in Wireshark, you have a main toolbar, you have things like search and all that stuff. You have a table, what is called a packet pane list. This is just a listing of all the packets in rows. Then below the packet pane, this is the important part, is the packet details. When you click on a packet, a single packet on a packet list pane, you can actually drill down and get all the information about a packet. See all the layers of the OSI model. And then the final pane is the packet bytes pane. This actually shows you the packet in binary detail, in binary. So here, for this session, all the PCAPs that we're going to use are in, all the PCAPs are available on GitHub. So one thing is that you can run git clone. So I'm going to open up Firefox. Yeah. Go to github.com/mchow01 bootcamp. Oop, typo. I'm going to copy, paste that on the chat for each and every one of you. There you go. Funny thing is, I'm actually giving the same presentation tomorrow at a professional training. So here are all the files that you need for today's session. And I'm actually going to post the links to the files that you're going to need to download for today. So what we're definitely going to do today, we're going to look at what set1.pcap is, set2.pcap, set3.pcap, set4.pcap. We're going to take a look at we're going to definitely analyze those today. Okay, so now, well, interesting. If you actually click on set1.pcap, you know that you see that GitHub can't actually render a preview of it. Now to download it, I'm going to copy this link. I'm going to send this. Yeah, I love Twitch. Oop. Hold on. I'm going to copy this link. Copy link. Please tell me this one works. Yes, that's the link to download. That's the set1.pcap. Don't worry, this is totally safe. You're going to download, and I'm going to download it to my desktop. Download set1.pcap. I'm going to fire up a terminal. Can you see my terminal? Here. So I'm going to do an ls on my desktop. So I see set1.pcap. Now here's a question for you. What command can you, if you're familiar with the Unix Linux command line, how can you actually take a look at a file? Can you list the contents of a file, or you view the contents of a file on the command line? Give me a command to use. Okay, Pebbles. Hey, Pebbles. Pebbles says cat. You ready? Now, if you're going to actually view the contents of a pcap file on a command line, we're going to use as what pcap. We're going to use what Blattery. Okay, we have a bunch of things. We have less cat. Okay, we'll do both. We'll do cat set1.pcap. You ready? Watch what happens. Ooh, we can do more. Watch what happens. Ooh. Did you hear that? You hear that? You hear those couple dots? Let's do less set1.pcap. You're going to get the same result. Set1.pcap may be a binary file. See it anyway? Yeah. There it is. Okay, we'll do strings. Let's say I'm going to clear the screen. I'll do strings set1.pcap. Watch what happens. Whoa, what the hell? What me worry? Wait a minute. Really? Strings is what me worry. That's a thing in set1.pcap? Okay. First of all, how big is set1.pcap? 715 bytes. Pretty small. Set1.pcap is a really small file. Again, if you do cat set1.pcap, you're going to get this on the screen. That's it. And then, of course, you get like 3 things in there. Now, you can use T-Shark as well. So, okay, you're viewing the binary on the terminal. This is what you're going to accept. So, a pcap file is binary. This is what happens when you view a binary file on the command line. Now, let's open up set1.pcap using Wireshark. Wireshark is usually always one of the first tools I install when I actually set up a new computer for myself. So here's how Wireshark looks like when you just when you open it up. So you have an option to open up a pcap file or capture pcaps. Don't worry about the warning. So now, let's do a file open. Go to my desktop of set1.pcap, and you'll notice the difference. No. Watch what happens. 715 bytes, really small file. When you looked at it on a terminal, like you just gobbledygook, it's all binary data. Take a look. There you go. And here, my friends, this is set1.pcap when you open it up on Wireshark. Take a look. Here at the very top where that blue fin is, you don't need to touch that. This is a toolbar. We're not going to need the toolbar for set1.pcap. Now, Wireshark did a little bit of a user interface change. The packet detail pane is now on the lower left corner, and the packet bytes is on the lower right corner. Yeah, so this is your very first exercise and very first set that, we're going to use for today. So you take a look at the table of, you take a look at the table here. You take a look at the table. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows. There are 8 rows in the table. I mean, there are 8 packets. Each and every one of these rows is a packet. And notice when I actually move through each and every packet, the packet details in the binary changes. Okay? So, let's do this exercise. So exercise number 1, let's download it. How many packets are there? Well, how many packets are there is just count the number of rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 packets. Only 8 packets in this. Nice and small, relatively simple to deal with. Okay? Question number 2. What is a networking protocol that is being used? Go back to Wireshark and notice on the table there's a protocol here. It's TCP, Transmission Control Protocol. That's what it is. Sometimes it can delve deeper. Sometimes it can actually be a lot more specific and show you protocols like HTTP or like FTP, which are, of course, like a lot of application protocols use TCP. Also, just for a bonus here, because this is a TCP protocol, does anyone notice something with the first 3 packets? 1, 2, 3. I'll give you a hint what I'm actually trying to think of. Does anyone notice something in the info column? The info column is just a snapshot of each and every packet. The info column, how you read it is the source port number, the destination port number, and then the TCP flags. Does anyone notice something? Yeah, hey classy. The hand and fly gumi, yes, you notice. The handshake. Sync for packet number 1, sync ACK for packet number 2, and ACK for packet number 3. The handshake. The TCP 3-way handshake, which is to build a reliable connection between the source and destination. Now here's the interesting thing. What is the source IP address and what is the destination IP address? Now, interestingly enough, at the bottom, I said, do you notice a 3-way handshake? But you notice in Wireshark, you notice in set1.pcap, there's only 2 IP addresses, 192.168.1.3 and 192.168.1.8. Which one is the source and which one is the destination? Well, using your knowledge of the TCP 3-way handshake, sync, ACK, and ACK, think of it this way. Think as the source as the one that actually initiates the sync, SYN. Okay? Yeah, I always forget what an ECE and CW are. Okay? Yeah, I always forget that I have to look up. Okay? So, here's the deal. The source IP address is the one who actually initiates the SYN, the TCP 3-way handshake. Take a look at packet number 1. It's 192.168.1.3. Now, someone in the in-person class actually asked, okay, but what port number will it use? The source IP address will use, and when it does the SYN, will use some random port number. That's that's usually in the upper range, which is usually in the what I call the upper range, which is like over 40,000. Okay, so it's going to be 192.168.1.3 at port 49859. It's talking to 192, the destination, at 192.168.1.8 at port 7777. And then the sync ACK is the 192.168.1.8 at port 777 at port 7777. It makes a sync ACK back to 192.168.1.3 at 49859. So now you also know. Okay, so now we can answer question 3. Question 4, the source IP address is 192.168.1.3, and the destination is 192.168.1.8. The port number used in the source The port number is the source using to communicate with the destination. Or what port number is the destination listening on? It's 777747. Now you may be wondering, is there a reason why port 7777? The answer is yes. As you will see throughout this entire security course, many attackers, many bad folks use port 7777 for nefarious purposes. Oh yeah. 1.8 is the destination, 1.3 is the first. Okay, so fly gumi, yeah, I mean, usually a lot of people would think that way, but you gotta be very careful. Generally speaking, that's a lot of times that's true. 1.3 is the source because it is sent first, but really you just have to make sure that it sends the SY at a sync. Be careful, okay? So, here we are. This is a PCAP file that had, this is a packet that had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 packets. We're not entirely done yet. So how do you reconstruct a conversation in Wireshark? This is one of my favorite things I showed to a lot of people who actually take our course at DEF CON. If you want to reconstruct a conversation in Wireshark, all you need to do is the following. Step number 1, click on a packet. It'll be highlighted in blue. Then do a right click on the packet, go to follow, and then follow one of the streams. Usually it's TCP stream. Let's go back. So what is the conversation that 192.168.1.3 is having with 192.168.1.8? Just click on the third packet, the ACK. Right click on it. I'm going to right click on it. Same process for every single on any system. Go to follow and go to TCP. Follow TCP stream. There you go. Here's the conversation. So 192, so here it is. But all it is this text. What? Me what? What? Me worry? The entire conversation between 192.168.1.3 to 192.168.1.8, it's the entire conversation, only 15 bytes. What? Me worry. That's it. And the data is an ASCII. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So now, this is your very first PCAP file. Do packets always have to send information about origin? Generally speaking, yes. You can actually drill down. Okay, remember the one thing I kept on saying in class is each and every layer of the OSI model have a different responsibility. The Internet Protocol, which is on layer 3, IP, is always, okay? If you notice that every single packet here, every single packet, you see Ethernet every single packet here, you see Ethernet Internet Protocol version 4 and Transmission Control Protocol, TCP. Each and every packet must have the MAC address, the hardware address on the destination and source of the hardware. So actually, let me click the first one, the class first one. That it? This is this is frame number 2. Oh, no, let me, I need to clear the filter. Let me clear the filter out first. There we go. And let me sort all the way at the beginning. Okay, here we go. Frame number, this is packet number 1. We call it frame number 1. You can see the MAC address of both the source and destination as well too on Ethernet, the hardware addresses. The destination has this B8 yada 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 MAC address, and the source has this A4 MAC address at A4. A lot of MAC addresses actually leave signatures. A lot of MAC addresses mean something. And Wireshark was able to decipher that the destination is a Raspberry Pi, and the source is an Apple something. Okay, so that means so an Apple device is trying to talk to a server on a Raspberry Pi. That's what it is. But you can also take a look at the network layer. The network layer, namely IPv4, only has source and destination addresses. When I actually click on IPv4 on the packet detail, you can see where the data is on the raw packet on the right. Source is 192.168.1.3. Destination is 192.168. Yeah. Now, here's the thing that's very important. IPv4, or layer 3 of the network, layer 3 of the OSI model, they don't have anything to do with payload or port numbers. That's done on layer 4 of the OSI model, which is where Transmission Control Protocol, or TCP, lives. So TCP is responsible for things like the source port, destination port, and also TCP flags and payload. Yeah, so packets always have to send information about the origin. You notice that each and every packet not only has a source and destination IP addresses, but it also has the hardware addresses as well too. So hopefully that answers. That's a good question, Fly Guy. Very good question, Fly Guy. Okay? So that's how you reconstruct a conversation. And we're going to do this again. Let's do another exercise. Let's reconstruct a conversation. Actually, before we get to that, have anyone ever... Okay, so what I want to show you in this exercise is how does web traffic looks? HTTP versus HTTPS versus VPN. How does all three of them actually look? Well, this is important. And hopefully the moral of the story is what happens when you use insecure protocols. So I'm going to copy this link. So I'm going to download, so here's the insecure. Let me click the secure one. I'm going to use all three of them at the same time. I'm going to copy this link. Insecure versus secure versus VPN. So what I'm going to show you is why you want to use secure protocols, or if you don't have that, use a VPN, a virtual private network. So this is network traffic going to the website tufts.io. Tufts.io is a very interesting website because it enables both HTTP or HTTPS. HTTP, everything is sent insecurely, in plain text. HTTPS is the web traffic actually is encrypted with security. VPN is yada yada yada. Okay, so here is how plain text, when you send, this is how HTTP, when you go to an HTTP website, this is how the packets look like. Notice you see a lot of green. You see the sync, ACK, and ACK between my computer and the IP address of tufts.io. And you can see the protocol, HTTP, was analyzed. You can do a follow, right click. You can either choose HTTP, a TCP stream, or you can do HTTP stream. So HTTP stream will be more specific. So this is what happened when you go to an HTTP website. Everything can be reconstructed. Let's use the specific one. Follow HTTP stream. There you go. You see the HTTP headers. You see maybe an icon of some sort. You see CSS, style sheet stuff. Oh yeah. Yeah, you can take a look at all this ASCII data. If you actually want to do a complete dump of the website based on what is captured in tufts.io-insecure.pcap, all you need to do is actually, the shortcut is File, Export Objects, HTTP. And notice that you can export like the JavaScript, the font, the icon, you name it. You can just save it to your desktop. You can save it to any folder on your computer. This is HTTP traffic, Hypertext Transfer Protocol, insecure. Everything is sent in plain text, no encryption. You can reconstruct stuff back. Now let's take a look at what happens if you go to, instead of http://tufts.io, you get https tufts.io. There you go. You have the sync, ACK, and ACK, the three-way handshake, but then the HTTPS process happens, what is better known as Transport Layer Security, TLS, or SSL. We'll talk more about this in the middle of the course when we do web security. But notice if I actually try now, yeah, you see some of these things here, but this is nothing to do. This is actually going to, you see these green things here, this has nothing to do with going to Tufts.io. It's actually like Mozilla information, like follow TCP stream on this. It's like all Mozilla things. Don't worry. So that's like nothing. That has nothing to do with going to Tufts.io. But if you actually right-click follow TC, well, you can't rebuild the web page. You can't rebuild any of the content because everything's encrypted now. You can follow TCP stream and you get this back. It's all gobbledygook. Yep. So that's a big difference. This shows you a big difference of what happened when you go to an HTTP site versus HTTPS. Or more generically speaking, an insecure protocol to a secure protocol. The insecure protocol, everything's in plain text. You can reconstruct them. You can reconstruct everything. But if you have, when you have encryption, when you have the security stuff, you can't recreate anything. Yeah, you can't see anything. However, what about VPN? It's even worse. You really can't see anything. This is what happened when I got a Tufts.io on like a VPN. I think I was using a VPN that was hosted on AWS, on Amazon Web. You can't reconstruct anything. You do a follow, you can go follow something called UDP stream. UDP has no handshaking. So it's just traffic flowing at you. Oh yeah. So this shows you a difference. More of the encryption is use encryption, use secure protocols. The next three exercises we're going to do actually send data using insecure protocols, so you can actually have some fun. Exercise number 2, let's extract pictures. Ooh, let's extract some pictures. It's got a set2.pcap. I'm going to download this to my desktop, copy the link. Okay, now I'm telling you right now that this pcap file, set2.pcap, has pictures in them. Wow, this is interesting, very interesting here. I'm telling you, there are pictures here. First of all, how big is this pcap file? I've got on my terminal again. This is 400 kilobytes. Set2.pcap has, well, 400,000 kilobytes. But I'm telling you, there are pictures here. Go all the way up. How many packets are here? Well, a little more involved. Not 8 this time. Go all the way down. 482 packets. This set2.pcap we're using has 482 packets. Okay? So, question number 1, the exercise. Let's do these exercises. What insecure protocol was used to transmit pictures on the network? Question number 2 is how many pictures were transmitted. Question number 3, extract one of the pictures that was transmitted. Hint, show and save the picture as raw format, not ASCII. So, what's insecure protocol? Actually, let me show you those questions again. What insecure protocol was used to transmit the pictures on the network? Take a look at Wireshark. See TCP. So here you go, you see the TCP three-way handshake between 192.168.1.228 to 192.168.1.8. You see the sync, ACK, and ACK. But you notice, but here's the giveaway. 192.168.1.228, that's my computer, is talking to the server at 192.168.1.8. Notice the arrows in the info column, the first two numbers, 49979 to 21. Ooh, so the server is at 192.168.1.8 at port 21. Now, I mentioned this when we did the TCP two-way handshake and networking on a couple days ago. Port 21's FTP, the file transfer protocol. And sure enough, for the fourth packet, I don't even care, let's update, you notice that the protocol is FTP, the file transfer protocol. The file transfer protocol is, well, one of the oldest protocols for file transfer, but it's also one of the most well-known and abused because everything is sent in securely, plain text. To really illustrate how insecure FTP is, let's do this. Right-click, follow TCP stream. Are we always, okay, so the question by Song is, are we always prefer HTTPS over, yeah. The answer, generally speaking, is yes, as K-Farm said. Actually, on a lot of web browsers like Firefox, so Song, I'm going to show you, if you go to your web browser settings, there is a web browser setting that I actually said, if you go to privacy and security, is it privacy and security? What the hell is it? Aha, notice. HTTPS only mode. HTTPS provides a secure encrypted connection between Firefox and the website that you visit. Most websites support HTTPS, and if only HTTPS only mode is enabled, then Firefox will upgrade all connection to HTTPS. I enable HTTPS only mode in all windows. I don't care. So K-Farm is, yeah, is usually. For me, I'll go a step up and I say yes. So classic, is it classy chicky? Yeah, FTP, file transfer protocol. Let's go back. Now do a file, right click, okay, do a right click, follow TCP stream, and notice, ooh, interesting. This is what happens in Wireshark. And when you use Wireshark to analyze FTP traffic, the first thing that you see is the communications log between the client and the FTP server. Notice you actually even see the username and the password. You see the username and the password used for the FTP server. The user is Woodworm and the password is Baby Shark, capital B and capital S. And you can take a look at this transmission log of files. I see one JPEG, I see another JPEG, a text file got transmitted to the server, another JPEG, and another JPEG. That's bad. So now, can we see all those files? Can we see the JPEG, the text file, the JPEG, and then the other JPEG? And the answer is yes. This entire conversation of this entire looks like it's 925 bytes. But if you actually want to take a look at all the successive files in this conversation between the client and the FTP server at 192.168.1.8, you actually can see all the files in this conversation by way of the stream. This stream is, think of it this way, is a counter of all the files associated with this conversation. In this case, the FTP, the file transfer protocol session. Streams, there are 6 streams, starts at 0. 0 is like the listing. It's like your log. So you want to see the first picture that was transmitted. There you go. I see what? Can you see anything humanly readable? Well, I see JFIF, I see Photoshop, I see copyright 2007 Apple. Yeah, and all this. 16 kilobytes. I have a 16 kilobyte file that got transferred to the FTP server. Ooh, here we go. Yeah. You see RGB as well. I see Photoshop. I see another Apple. This file is 114 kilobytes. And remember, we're showing the data as ASCII right now. We're not saving it to the system yet. Ooh, we got a text file, 64 kilobytes. Cybersecurity as real politics. This was Dan Geer, Cybersecurity Luminaries, keynote at the 2014 Black Hat Conference. This entire text file, his speech, very long, 64 kilobytes. Let's go to the next picture. Ooh, we got another picture, another JFIF. You see Photoshop. You see another one, another JFIF. And that's it. And that's it. So here we go. We see all 6 streams, including the FTP log. So now, let's save each and every one of these to a desktop for viewing. Now, this is what happened when you try to do a file save as. You can actually, you can save each and every stream to your computer. Just do a save as. And you can show the data as a whole bunch of format. By default, it uses ASCII. You can even save this to a hex dump or raw binary. But notice what happens when you do a file save as. This first stream, the first picture, and let's save this out, let's say output 1. Okay. So now I'm going to actually take a look at my terminal. So here's output 1. If I do a file output 1, what's the file command? File command is a really good one. File determines the file type of a file. So if I do file output 1, ASCII text with very long lines. Is it safe? Is it safe to save things locally? That's a complicated question, Zen. I'm glad that you asked. It's a very complicated question. Yes and no. If you're analyzing malware, your better option is to actually use something called a virtual machine, a computer running on top of your computer. Yes, we will be using malware. We'll be analyzing real malware in this course. If you're actually downloading something that is sketchy, you want to use a virtual machine or a Docker container. But for almost everything in this class, yes, it is safe to actually save stuff onto your computer. But if you're going to do this stuff professionally and in the real world, typically, especially if you're like an analyst or an investigator, you want to use like a Docker container or more specific, a virtual machine. That's a very, 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 very good question. I think you want to save some kind of a sandbox. That's the point. Especially if you're dealing with malware and stuff. Yeah. Especially in the real world malware, yeah. You want to be using like a sandbox of some sort. But for this class, for academic purposes, it's safe to save. Because it would be really bad if I make you download bad stuff. I mean, I could get sued and everyone can get in trouble and it won't end well. Okay? But going back to this example, that too, yes. Virtual, yes, especially it's now done. It's now possible on the M1 Max. This wasn't true in fall 2020 when I first started teaching this course. The file command, again, is to determine the file type. File output 1. It's a very ASCII file. I want to actually, hold on for a second. I want to come back to this slide, but I actually want to show you on my desktop right now how it looks like. output 1 is, if I do a more output 1, yeah, it's just ASCII data. You don't want to save this as ASCII data. That's why I asked you. I told you earlier, when you do in Wireshark, you want to actually export the stuff as raw. So instead, show data not as ASCII, but as raw, binary. Now you do a save as, and let's do output, and we'll save this as output 1. Output 1, yeah, we're going to replace it because we don't want to, we want to overwrite the ASCII text. Stream number 2, this was another picture, so we're going to actually save this as output 2. But notice something. I'm not putting a file extension on these things just yet. Let's do it the fun and proper way. We know that this was ASCII. Dan Gear speech, do we save as? We can save as speech.txt. Yeah. Let's go to stream number 4. Not ASCII, save, make this as binary, save as. And we got one more file, one more picture. I'm going to save as. It's a bunch of things. Raw binary, you'll see, raw binary. I'll repeat that again. Raw binary. I'll put 5. This is the last one. Binary. Remember earlier I said, well, you can use raw files from photo application. Yeah. So yeah, remember how it says earlier, which says, funny that it just said with very long line, but now, if I do file, output 1, oh shit. Boom. JPEG image data. Not very long line this time. I think I might know who you are, Zen. I have a feeling I know who you are. How does the file have an okay, hold on. So before I get to a non-Max thing, now we know that if I do the file on output 1, it's a JPEG. So I'm gonna rename, yes, you can use a mv command, move, to rename a file. Now we're gonna put the file extension on there because now we know that this is really a JPEG. File, output 2. Yeah, that's a JPEG. More speech.txt. There you go, that's readable. More file, output 4. Rename output 4 to output 4.jpg. Same thing. Yeah. Anonymax asked a very good question. Now here are your pictures that we just saved. First picture. Second picture. The third picture. And the fourth picture. There you go. There are all the files. How does file have an exhaustive list of file types? Well, I get this question every so often. That's a good question. That's a good question, Anon TMCS. That's a very good question. I'm going to clear the screen. Man file. How does file work? File works it's actually, you have to dig into the man page. Like a file tests each argument and then attempt to classify it. There are 3 sets of tests performed in the order: file system test, magic test, and language test. The first test that succeeds causes a file to be printed. The file system tests are based on examining the return of the stat system call. Okay. Yada, yada, yada. The magic test use a check for files that are with data in fixed formats. Here it is. Anonymac, here it is. The information identifying these files is read from the compiled magic file /user/file/magic.mgc. Actually, I've never taken a look at that file before. Oh, here it is. Let's take a look at this list of files. This is for Anona TMCS. Yeah, it's a binary file. Oh shit. Oh shit, this is a big file. And this is where I want to use strings. Here you go. Here's a list of all your different files. Huh. This is crazy. I learned something new. I've never seen this before. Oh shit. Thanks, Anona TMCS. Yeah. Well, hold on. I'm gonna paste that. Yeah. Oh. Look at. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that until now. Jeez. Alright, let's do one more. Come on! We done the extract picture. We actually did this. Really, and one thing I actually jumped the gun. Look, using Linux commands is an important part of your skill for any security tool practitioner. So far we've used file, we've used cat, we've used strings, we'll use OpenSSL later, you use more. One thing about Linux command line tools I want to let everyone know, you're not gonna, this stuff I learn each and every day, even up to this day, and I've been using the command line since I was 18. Years of practice. There's no way anyone's gonna master the command line right away. But what we're gonna do now is a little more, as another fun one. Now let's reconstruct a media file. Now let's reconstruct a media file in set3.pcap. A protocol was used to transfer the file. What's this? IP address of the client, the server, what port number, and reconstruct and play the media file. What kind of a media file it was. Alright. There's nothing special here. It's just a really big ass pcap that we're going to work with. We don't need this anymore. I'll close this out. Close this out. We're going to need the terminal still. Close this out. Close this out. Close this out. Quick. Alright. So let's actually play with set3.pcap. This one I thoroughly love. This is a big pcap file. Now download, save that to the desktop, copy the link, I'm going to paste it here. So whenever I download, yeah, it has its own file, I think it does. I'm pretty sure it does. So whenever you actually download a new app like Notability, does it add its own file type? Yeah, we get new file type all the time. I believe so. There are new file types that gets added all the time. I remember many years ago, there wasn't this thing. I'll give you an example. Remember many years ago, the big rage was this thing called Markdown, MD? And like very few things could actually render Markdown even well. Yeah. Alright. Now here's set3.pcap. This is a big pcap. Now be careful. This one you got to be very careful with as well. Set3.pcap. This one's a 40 megabyte pcap file. Oh shoot. No, I need to open that. No, with Wireshark. There we go. I'm going to open up set3.pcap and Wireshark. It's actually around 40 megabytes. 38.60 megabytes. That's it. This pcap file is pretty big. It has 38,469 packets. So what? 38,469 packets. 2 IP addresses only, 192.168.1.228 and 192.168.1.20. That's well, that looks like the destination at port 7777 again. You see the sync, ACK, and ACK here. Let's do this on TCP protocol. Right-click follow TCP stream. Now here's the tricky thing. This is a big file. You see this counter right here, 13, 14, 15? Let it stop first before you do anything. Let it stop. Okay, finally, the entire conversation at 37 megabytes, 31,582 packets was this conversation. There's no other stream. There's no other stream. But as we did in the last exercise, we don't want to save this to our desktop or to our file system as ASCII. We need to save this as binary. So choose RAW instead. But before you save it, no, don't hit the save as yet. Don't hit the save as. Make sure that the counter has stopped. Come on. Any day now. Okay, 31,496 packet, 37 megabytes. Now I can do a save as, and now I'm going to save this to my desktop as media. That's it. I'm going to save this to my desktop as media. There we go. Here's your media file. If I get a get info on this, it's 37.3 is a document. Well, what the hell kind of a document is it? I don't know. Well, that's why you want to use the file command. File, media. The media file I saved to my desktop. And what I get, ooh, Apple QuickTime Movie. So what I'm going to do is this. Rename media to media.mov with the proper file extension. This is why file extensions are really important, because then your computer can really render what it is. Now when I do a right click, and I can open this in either QuickTime Player or I use VLC, the open source media player, and watch this. Forever's gonna start. Once upon a time I was falling in love. Now I'm only falling apart. Yeah. Forever's gonna start. Once upon a time I was falling in love. Now I'm only falling apart. Yeah. So, SK_potato, that video was taken at the piano bar at the Paris Hotel in Las Vegas in 2019. So as you know, that years 2020 and 2021 were kind of sad because, well, let's not get into that, but I think we all know. We've all been through that. I remember I was teaching this course, I was like, I've been doing this demonstration for a while. And I remember those couple of years I was like wondering, I'm glad I actually took that video. But it's also sad to watch it because it's like, when will be the next time I will actually go and travel again or go to a major security conference? The good news is I would actually go back to Vegas last summer. Fantastic time. Had a wonderful time. Definitely, it was so worth it. The only big difference now is that I don't drink anymore, so I don't care for going to bars and stuff. But yeah, still was a great time in 2019. Yeah. So that's actually the video that I took. That's a little longer story about that video and going to the piano bar. I'll tell another day. That also include like someone's angry, still angry at me because I crashed a party. But someone I know well too was like, that's a longer conversation. We only got one more exercise. So now we've reconstructed the media file. It was just how do you think the media file was transferred from client to server? I just used a tool called Netcat, which will be next Thursday's part of next Thursday Twitch session. Now, so far today, we've actually looked at binary data on the command line terminal. Now, Before I get to the final exercise today, I want to talk about this thing called base 64. Base 64 is what is called an encoding scheme. It is used to represent or translate binary data into ASCII text format. For example, you know dangerous things can happen when you actually try to output binary data on a command line terminal, like what we did with set number 1.pcap. You see the dot dot and all the gobbledygook. Very important is that base 64 is used to encode, not for encryption. Base 64 is not encryption, base 64 is not encryption, base 64 is not encryption, base 64 is not encryption. You get the idea. But why is this important? Because unfortunately, there are too many people too many people who think that base 64 is used for encryption purposes. And also, this is one of those things that the developers of HTTP got something horribly, horribly wrong. There is something called basic HTTP authentication. Basic HTTP authentication is this. Have anyone ever seen that little gray pop-up window on any web browser and it's asked for your username and password? Well, I hate to say this, but there's no encryption there. In basic HTTP authentication, a request contains a header field in the form authorization : space basic, followed by the username and password, where that's the credentials. The credentials, unfortunately, is the base 64 encoding of the ID and password joined by a colon. Fly guy, am I? Isn't that what was using for in CS15? Yes. Oh yes, for years. But actually, it was even worse. It was actually not only basic HTTP authentication, but also basic HTTP authentication sent insecurely. Now at least they have HTTPS. Okay, so Fly Guy, you had to bring this matter up. Do you actually want to take a look at how insecure it really was back in the heydays? Download set number 4.pcap. In fact, this set 4.pcap was taken from that, well, censored system that was used for CS15 for years. I don't know who you are. Don't worry. I don't know. I have no idea who you are. You don't need to say your real name, but it's funny that you had to bring this up. Yes, this was exactly what CS15 was using for years. What protocol was used to transmit the credentials, transmit the username, password pairs? What is one username password pair in this PCAP set? And is the username password pair valid or not? Okay. You had to bring this up. Fly Guy, yeah. This actually, okay, so go to set 4.pcap. I'm just going to download, copy the link. Shit, we're over time. We're over time a little bit, but this one won't take long. I'll download it. Set 4.pcap, this one is really small. This one's not that big. I don't need this anymore. Oh, but what is important is, yeah, this is very important. When you find usernames and password, don't go to the website domain and enter the username password to determine if it's valid or not. That is unauthorized access, and that is computer fraud. That is actually unauthorized access, and you can actually get arrested by the computer under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, CFAA. I don't need PowerPoint anymore. This is going to be the last time I'm going to use PowerPoint. Don't worry. Set 4.pcap. Here we go. Oh, finally, I open it up. Here we go. This is a very small file. Small PCAP file. Set 4.pcap. It's only 17 kilobytes. But you see HTTP traffic. If you're thinking this is a TA time card, yes it is. Alright, so where are the credentials? Where are the username and passwords? All we need to do is to use something called a filter in this case. To find a packet, find a magnifying glass. Click on the little magnifying glass here. We don't want to do a display filter search. We want to search for the string. Not a packet detail, not a packet list, but packet details. Well, let's say narrow and wide. Let's do case sensitive. It's not encryption. Base 64 is not encryption. But unfortunately, it is sometimes looked at it or improperly used as encryption. It's not encryption at all. Good try. No, it's not encryption, but everyone gets this one wrong. Let's look for the string authorization, that with a capital A, colon, basic. Watch what happens when I hit the find button now. There you go. I have one username and password here. Here we go. We find one instance of authorization colon basic. This was sent in using HTTP. Now, I'm going to, you see the string here that ends in a double equal? I'm going to copy this as printable text. Now, I don't need this anymore, but I want to use something called base64 decode, well, base64 decoder. I use base64decode.org. Decode from base64 format. So, remove the authorization colon space basic space, and we have this base64 string. If I try to decode that, watch what the result is. B. Rogers, colon, they played with great character. So we have a username, B. Rogers, they played with great character. Okay? Is there another one of these stupid things here? Do a find again. Yep, found another one. Copy as printable text. Well, no. Fly guy, not yet. We only put them on the wall if if we get successful access. We don't care if it's a wrong username or wrong password. Here it is. Demoid. No. It's a good question. It's a good thing. We get this all the time. We're only gonna put the username and password on the wall of sheep if they're legitimate. We're gonna do that next if these are legit. Okay, so here we are. We have D Moyes colon, I am a football genius. Is there another one? Yep. Not yet. Don't jump the gun. We have to make sure that these actually have correct username and passwords. I'm gonna decode. A. Ausler ID10T expert. Idiot expert. Okay. There anyone else? Nope, we're back at the beginning. So here's the one thing. One way that Wireshark can actually, here's the thing. Wireshark, if you actually, if they find an author, here's the one thing, a little thing dirty secret I did not tell you about. Wireshark can actually decipher the credentials for you. Yeah, credentials. B. Rogers, they play with great character. There it is. Credential. D. Moyes, I'm a football genius. A. Also, ID10T expert. So these are not encrypted. These are encoded. But now, hold on. Now I need to answer the question, Fly Guy. Can we actually put these on the wall of sheep? Well, again, I said don't go to the user, don't enter these username and password on the website. But how are you going to see if they're legitimate or not? Just follow the TCP. How you actually test if a username and password is actually legitimate or not? All you need to do is something that we did before. Follow the TCP stream or the HTTP stream. Either one. Let's follow the HTTP stream. Oh. 401 authorization required. Oh, the server cannot verify that you are authorized to access the document requested. Either you supplied the wrong credential, e.g. bad password, or your browser. Okay, this is not good. You got a 401, that means bad username password. Nah. Alright, so we didn't win there. Shoot. What about this other? What about this next one? Mm-mm. Same. You got a 401. Mm-mm. How about Ann Ausler? Is her actually account correct? Is her username password correct? Mm-mm. 401. Nope. Nope. All three of these are incorrect username and or password. So unfortunately, we can't put them on the wall of sheep at all because it's not the correct username password. Sorry. But this is how we actually check for username and password that were sent in securely by way of HTTP basic auth for years. And that's all I got for today, folks. Like, where can you go from here? Well, this is your lab 2. Now you can do lab 2 for this course, which is publicly available. Yeah, there's so many opportunities. CS116.org. I mean, the second lab is publicly available for everyone to play with. Yeah, so now you actually, yeah, now you can actually do this entire lab. It's a lot of fun. This one actually has a PCAP from DEF CON. Oh, yeah. But where you go from here, well, you can sniff and validate password, reconstruct files. We're way over time. Volunteer with us at the Wall of Sheep and a Packet Hacking Village. We also have trainers and intermediate skills contests at the Packet Hacking Village, such as Packet Inspector. And we even have a Black Badge event where you can actually win lifetime admission to DEF CON if you win. So other than that, folks, I'm done. We are over time. Sadly, this is not good. This is my first time I've actually gone this much, but thank you, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I'm going to post these now. Fair out. Have a good night, folks. See you next week.